Welcome to the Good News Podcast. I'm Colleen.
And I'm Neil. We're here to share with you all the sonic joy we can find, good news, and delightful moments.
Beaming right to your ears from the Cards Against Humanity studios in Chicago.
Here are some bad things that won't happen today.
No families will be forced to cannibalize each other in the mountains of America's Pacific Northwest.
As far as our records show, candy is still being made around the world.
At the end of every episode, we ask you to reach out if you have something you think is good news. We recently got this voicemail.
Hey, this is Mark from Richland, Michigan. You guys are definitely in one of the best cities in the world, and also the home of pinball.
That's Mark, and he loves pinball, and we love people who are passionate about things. And Mark is a real pinhead.
So we called Mark up to talk pinball.
You're walking up to a brand new pinball machine, one you've never played. What are you most excited about with a new machine?
Well, what draws you in is the theme. Sometimes the themes are from major movies. Stern usually picks like some of the latest intellectual properties like Guardians of the Galaxy or Star Wars, and sometimes a retro theme like Ghostbusters or Kiss, music themes, Metallica. But boutique pinball companies will pick themes like Wizard of Oz. So you get excited about playing something that you already maybe love, but imagine a slot machine that had a skill component. That's what gets you excited about playing pinball. It's you versus the machine. It's you versus physics. You know that there's a way to win. It's just you have to be good enough to win, to control the ball, to see what happens next. The element of surprise is always, the wow factor of multi-ball where several balls enter the playfield at once, and it's just chaos as you try to maintain control of already an out-of-control situation. It's fun and just being, exploring something new. That's always fun, and newer machines have more going for them, but sometimes you get to an older machine and realize there's a lot more under the hood than just keep the ball alive.
That was the perfect description of walking up to a new pinball machine. I'm hankering. I'm drooling for some pinball right now.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
I have one. So when Neil and I were talking about this yesterday, he brought up this really interesting point about pinball is sort of one of the last things we have in our life that leaves us like this tactile gratification that video games cannot simulate. And I wonder if you could maybe talk about that. Yeah,
the tactile sense that you have a way to control a ball. You can nudge the machine. You can get you can feel connected to something that isn't alive at all, but it actually feels like it's something that is connected to you. And some people have a deeper feeling about this than most, because others it's just a machine to try to exploit. But I think someone really into the game itself feels like this is something that I'm interacting with rather than just playing. And I think that's why some of the pinball collectors have a very hard time giving up their first pinball machine that has ever graced their collection, because they're probably more intimate with that machine than any other machine that they get in their collection.
And it's safe to say, if you've ever played pinball, it was probably on a Stern-made machine, the largest manufacturer of pinball machines in the U.S.
Stern is actually located right here in Chicago.
Why do people like Mark love pinball as much as they do?
Because it's fun.
This is Zach Sharp. He's the director of marketing at Stern Pinball.
And the great thing about pinball in general is everyone gets enjoyment out of it in different capacities. So you have tournament players who love competing, and similar to golf, bowling, darts, you name it. It's that kind of hand-eye coordination where you're battling physics, but you're also competing against somebody else. There's collectors who love it as a piece of art. I mean, you look at the artwork on a lot of these machines, and it's really impressive. So there's different levels of enjoyment where, some people might just looking at it versus playing it. I'll always say it's always more fun to play.
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, I can't imagine being one of those people who could contain themselves and not play with a pinball machine. I always just want to bang on the buttons. Yeah.
It's like people who have like a Ferrari that doesn't get driven. It's like, how could you not drive that thing? But,
well, yeah, we saw how that turned out in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Exactly. You just put the turn the dial back and set it back to 0. And...
Colleen, when you think about pinball, what is the theme of your imagined pinball machine? Like, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Yeah, The Simpsons. I don't know why. I don't know. I must have played a Simpsons pinball at some point in my life. But
sure.
But I think that is also the thing about pinball that's the kind of exciting is that it's the same game, but you can put different, like, well-known pop culture things over it.
For whatever reason, I can only think of, like, a Blues Brothers themed pinball machine.
Yeah.
And that is, to me, just pinball in a nutshell.
Now, I'm going to pose a question out to the pinheads out there.
Come on, you pinheads.
When you're playing pinball and you physically move the machine...
Tilt,
like a tilt, is that acceptable pinball behavior or is that not cool?
Colleen, that's a good question.
Yeah, well, I hope to hear from some pinheads.
Thanks for listening. Do you have good news? Great. Or maybe you want to tell us a joke or idea? Also great.
Email us at goodnews@cardsagainsthumanity.com.
Or leave us a voicemail at 773-217-0156.
You can also tweet us at The Good News Pod.
Most of our music is by Poddington Bear.
Same place, same time, Monday.